Has your student received a scholarship rejection letter? If so, they were probably pretty disheartened to have put in all that work into an application only to find out that the answer is no. To be honest, I think every scholarship winner has experienced this at some point or another. And if you or you know someone with a 100% success rate, then please send them my way because that would be a rarity. But that said, I can speak from my own experience of securing six figures in scholarships that the road to a free ride often includes some no's. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how students can handle scholarship rejection letters, including how we can turn that no into some tips that can actually increase our chances of getting a yes in the future. Hey there, it's Jocelyn with the Scholarship System, and we teach families how to build strong financial futures to avoid decades of student loan debt. Primarily what we do is help families secure scholarships to do that. And again, like I mentioned, I secured six figures in scholarships myself, but our families have now surpassed $10.5 million. So like I said, even those that have had a lot of success when it comes to securing scholarships, including myself, we all have had a no at some point or another. So what can we do about this? That's what I want to focus on in this video today. Now, make sure you hit subscribe because every single week we're releasing a new strategy to help your family build that strong financial future. Finding and applying to scholarships can take a significant amount of time and effort. That is why we do what we do at the Scholarship System, because we hope to show students ways to do it more effectively and more efficiently. But still, if it's legitimate, it requires work. So again, hearing that no can be pretty painful. So it's important to understand why students receive that no before we can take action on it. So one of the first reasons, and this is more common than you would think, is actually because of some sort of technical issue with the application. Maybe they forgot to submit some sort of material that they're required to submit, or maybe their essay didn't really answer the essay question, or maybe they submitted one with tons of errors in it. So something that really was just a quick disqualifier, that could be a reason for getting this no. Now, this is why we have specific checklists and steps to follow for our members in the scholarship system. Again, you would be amazed at how often this happens. Now, the second reason can be more subjective. Maybe it wasn't necessarily that they did anything wrong. Maybe they just weren't the most competitive. Maybe they didn't have the most compelling essay. Now, again, you can have two different judges with two different opinions on this. This is where our team, we actually in the scholarship system give out thousands of dollars every year in scholarships as a way to give back, and we have kind of rubrics and we rank students, and then we reassess them holistically once we narrow it down, because we know that sometimes it's not black and white when choosing a winner. So it could be a subjective reason as well. Now, if your student is getting no's left and right and they're submitting the same essay over and over again, that's not going to fix this either. So I think it's Einstein, what's the saying? Something like insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Scholarships is the same thing. Yes, there's a numbers game to it in the sense that we have to submit quite a few in order to really get those wins that we need. However, if we're submitting the same essay that's not winning us anything so far, then the chances are we're going to get that same answer. But that said, when it comes to subjective things, this is where it's kind of our bread and butter in the scholarship system, right? We've learned what scholarship committees are looking for and what can really sell students in their applications, but that one is a little bit more gray. So let's get into what we can do with this no. So if your student received a no, then how can they go about improving, or what can they do with this no in order to increase their chances in the future? The first thing is to actually request feedback from the committee. So some committees, there's just no way they can do this. If they're getting tens of thousands of applicants and they're all asking for feedback, there's just no way to do that. But it's still worth a shot to ask them and say, hey, do you have any suggestions or tips on this application? Now, if your scholarship committee, if your student is lucky enough to get feedback, that is a huge opportunity for growth. And taking that feedback to heart, going back to the existing application, making those changes, and then moving forward with that one can really, really make a difference. Going off of that, it's good to go back and give yourself feedback. So have your student and you sit down and look through that application, read it out loud. Does the essay make sense? Does it answer the prompt? Are there errors? Did we miss something? So sit down and actually, rather than just moving on saying, okay, we got to know, let's go to the next one, go back to that one and see, do we see any clear gaps ourselves? Are there any tips that they recommended through the scholarship system that we didn't follow? Just reassessing it together as a team. And this might be difficult, right? Because you want to make sure that your student feels supported and not just hammered when it comes to their application. But at the same time, this is a great opportunity for constructive feedback. And also, if they can learn this skill now, that will help them so much in their future with college applications, with college essays, with applying to jobs, and just receiving feedback in general. It's such a critical skill. So this can really become not just an exercise to improve their chances of scholarship money, but actually to improve just their chances of success in life. Now, a third thing we can assess if we get no's with scholarship applications is, are we lacking in a certain area? So have you and your student sit down and consider, are we well-rounded? Are you taking challenging courses? How's your GPA? What are you involved in? Did you really have a story you can sell based on your experiences, or do you not really have much experience that you can talk about? A lot of times we'll get essays where maybe their biggest challenge is that they overcame bad grades. This is pretty generic and it is pretty common, and it often shows a lack of depth. So, side note, try to get away from that topic if your student's using it for essays. But, and let me say, there's always exceptions, okay? There might be a really compelling story behind it, but most of the time, we want to find a challenge that is bigger than just getting better grades, right? What are we involved in? Have we done team activities that were challenging, group activities? What is a deeper challenge that we've faced? And a lot of times we are sharing challenges in various essay prompts. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself on that. By the way, if you want to see some of my essay tips, you can check out the scholarship playlist on our YouTube channel. So again, we'll link to that in the description. And going off of this, maybe did the scholarship require an interview? Were there skills there that could have been honed in on? So again, we're taking a step back to see, is our student well-rounded? Where could they improve? What do we think is an area for improvement, and going from there. And I will tell you, I know that parents are great at promoting their students. They think the highest of their children, which is fantastic. They need someone in their corner. But it's also helpful to try to be a little bit objective, okay? And not too harsh, but a little objective helps too. Now, when it came to me not necessarily getting no's, but not hearing back, I actually found out that I was applying to the wrong scholarships. So this is the next suggestion, and that is to reassess what type of scholarships are we applying to. I've had families where they say, Jocelyn, my students submitted dozens of applications and they haven't heard back from any of them. And when I ask them, can you send me the links to what they've applied to, I find out that they're often the wrong scholarships. They are not legitimate scholarships. So if you're curious about where to find legitimate scholarships that actually have a chance of giving money and are less competitive, then you want to register for my free training on the 6 steps to securing scholarships quickly, where I cover exact steps on how to search for those legitimate scholarships. You can register. There should be a link somewhere on the screen, or you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free training. Also, we'll link to that one as well in the description. So just very quickly, what am I talking about when I say the wrong scholarships? We have another video on this in more detail, but basically, if it's based on luck, if it's sweepstakes, if it says enter to win, easy essay, or easy or no essay, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is not worth your students' time. So if those are the ones that we're focusing on and we're getting no's or we're not getting yeses, that's probably a quick area that we can change, find the right scholarships, and then increase our chances of getting yeses just by applying to better quality scholarships. And the last thing in this area is actually finding ones that truly fit your student. So maybe your student is applying to scholarships that are legitimate, that are a good quality, high quality scholarship. However, maybe they are not 100% fitting the requirements. Maybe it says seniors only and they are already in college, or maybe it says sophomores in college and they're senior in high school. Maybe it is a certain GPA requirement. So we want to follow the requirements of the scholarship. So this could be a quick disqualifier if they didn't. Now, comment below, has your student received any feedback from a committee before? If so, I would love to hear it. Have you and your student asked for feedback, and were they willing to give it? Comment below, because I know a lot of other parents and students would love to read that as well. And let me know in the comments, because maybe I can give some feedback based on what they suggested as far as making changes to that application. Now, going off of all of this, I do want to just say that I personally spent an entire year, my junior year in high school, applying to dozens and dozens of scholarships and never received a yes. And again, a lot of that had to do with applying to scams, which I cover in that free webinar that I linked to in the description. But my point here is that I kept on applying and I ended up amassing over 6 figures in scholarships. I graduated completely debt-free, and actually I got an overage check to help pay for college. I'm not saying this to say, woohoo, look at me. I'm saying this so that you and your student don't quit. If I had quit after that, then I would have missed out on an entire education paid for, 6 figures, and also so many benefits because of graduating debt-free. So I just want to say that, as a little word of inspiration, if your student got a no, it is okay. Every student that has received 6 figures of scholarships or any scholarships also receive those no letters. The other thing I want to say is that actually sometimes students can get lucky. Say the winner actually couldn't go to the university that they thought they were going to, or maybe they have to pass up the money for some reason. Sometimes committees will choose the next student in line. So still hang in there. Of course, that isn't that common, but it is still something to consider as well. All right, so in conclusion, if your student's getting some no's, try to keep them going, try to keep them applying, keep their heads up. They just need that one yes to really light that fire. I've seen students totally change their motivation and their mindset around scholarships once they finally get that yes. So again, don't give up. Don't let your student get too disheartened. Keep going, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And again, don't forget to hit subscribe, because every single week we'll release a new strategy, even those beyond scholarships, to work towards that debt-free degree. Again, this is Jocelyn with the Scholarship System. I will see you in the next video.